Recording started.
All right, so now the recording started, so I can kind of tell you that. So I found out a lot of people were getting a little confused the way I put some things down. Like I put 1.01 for the thing, so that's supposed to be like a lesson, right? In Unit 1, Lesson 1. And you see even right up here, this is pretty. I saw that I put Chapter 3 instead of Unit 3. So right now, what we're going over right now is Unit 3, Lesson 1 and 2. Okay, and so that's that information is going to be due. I believe what's today? Tuesday, so Thursday. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Now I created this slide right here that hopefully helps you out a lot. Okay, so what we should have already done is we should have week 1, you should have all of these things done. Okay, so week 1 we went over Unit 1, Lesson 1, and I kind of changed the title of that in the OLS so it helps you guys out a little bit. Okay, so in Unit 1, Lesson 1 you had quiz 1.01, 1.02, and 1.03. Okay, just watching the videos, doing that. In week 2, which was the week of August 27th, that's the Monday on there, I put that. So that entire week we went over Unit 1, Lesson 2, Unit 1, Lesson 3, and the quizzes that were in this were 2.04, 2.05, 3.06, and 3.07. Okay. And then last week, which was the week of September 3rd, we went over so you should have completed Unit 2, Lesson 1, Unit 2, Lesson 2 that we went over in class, and then here are the quizzes, right? So there's quite a few on this one. So what's upcoming, we're now in week 4. So week 4 is the week of September 10th, which was yesterday, so I just put it as a Monday. We have Unit 2, Lesson 3, Unit 3, Lesson 1, and then here's the quizzes that are going to be due at the end of this week. Okay, so every Monday I'm required to go in and put in zeros for what has been due all the way up till, so you basically have till Sunday to complete all the work of that week. Okay, I try to give you other due dates throughout the week so you're not always coming, just kind of following behind there. Okay, so does that help you out there? And then I have what's coming up on here, and then week 9 down at the bottom here is I have a built-in catch-up week, so you guys are good. Also, unfortunately, I haven't been able to catch everybody, but if you started late, will you send me an email? And I'm just going to put it right here, utahvirtual.org. So if you started late, just send me that, or if I've texted you, okay, today, text me back and said, hey, I started late, because then I can go back and see when you enrolled, and I can help you out a little bit there on assignment wise. Okay, so everything doesn't look as grim. Okay, does that make sense? Any other questions on like where we're supposed to be, what's going on, that kind of thing? What if you started late and you're caught up? That means you're awesome. I'm glad you're caught up. Thank you. Okay, somebody said you did a bunch of work today. Could check. Still missing. Okay, so it should automatically grade. So as soon as you go in there into the quizzes, it'll automatically grade and put it in your grade book. Make sure you put submit, or it won't grade it. No, if you're caught up, you're fine. You don't have to email me. Okay, good. I'm glad you're working on getting caught up. Not a big deal. Okay, thanks for coming. Just appreciate you being here. Okay. All right. Any other questions in regards to schedule, that kind of stuff? What's going on? I think this kind of helped out. I saw another teacher do it, broke it down into weeks. So hopefully that will do. I'm going to be sending an email out to everybody if I haven't already regarding these, what's coming up and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that will do it. And I have other things I'm kind of working on to make things a little bit easier for you. Okay, any other questions regarding assignments or what's due? That kind of stuff. Yeah, I have been texting some of your moms. That's the number I had. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just go back real quick. So today we're going to be going over, so I'm going to call this live lesson 4, okay? Paying for college and financial institutions are what we're going over, okay? The paying for college is going to go over a lot of what's called FAFSA, and so we'll go over that here shortly. Okay, so what is financial aid? Okay, so financial aid is money to help pay for educational costs. So, and here's one thing they always say, don't assume you're not eligible for financial aid. Okay, so financial aid, and I'll show you how to submit for financial aid. I'm not requiring, and I'm going to say this a couple times on this recording because I always get some parents that kind of come in. I'm not requiring you to apply for federal aid, okay, for the financial aid. Now, this financial aid can help anywhere from tech colleges. So let's say you want to get like a real estate license, or you want to be a cosmetologist, or you want to get a welding certificate. That money, this financial aid, can help you get those certificates at a tech college. Can also help you pay for college, like a traditional college, online. There's just a lot of different opportunities that can kind of help you to pay for, okay? So that's what financial aid is. So when we're looking at sources of funds for college, so this came out in 2015, this data, how the typical family pays for college, so the percentage of total cost from each source, okay? So scholarships and grants in a typical family, you're about 30%, okay? So if you're getting really good grades, you can get scholarships. There's a whole bunch of private scholarships, and there's a whole bunch of scholarships through the state of Utah, through different colleges, and through the federal government, okay? About 5% of college is paid for by relatives and friends. Student borrowing, so that means student loans, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about student loans. Student loans are really hard because there is loan forgiveness, is what they call it on there, but you have to work at a certain place for so long. It has to be in a certain industry. And one thing is, sometimes student loans, even if you go bankrupt, they still stay with you. They never go away, okay? So student loans are, they're good and bad. I've done basically everything, so I can tell you all about funding for college. I've gone to college for about 7 to 8 years. I guess some of it's I didn't know what to do, and other ones I got my master's and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff. Okay, parent borrowing, 6%. Student income and savings, so be able to work for it. And then 32% was this other thing of they just found the money somewhere, right? Just getting it. So you can kind of see what it takes to pay for college. Now, college is fairly expensive. Let's kind of talk about a couple things. So if you were to go to, so I went to Weber State University. When I went there, it was about, wait, what's the other 32%? 32% is they didn't know where it came from. I know that's a bad kind of play, but It was just other funds. So depending, and maybe they had like a, yeah, sorry, couldn't tell you. So somebody said they want to go to Weber. Yeah, so I went to Weber State University. When I went there, when I started, it was $2,500 a semester. Okay, so $2,500 a semester. So if you pay that twice, that's $5,000 a year. Sometimes I went 3 semesters, so I went over the summer too. I mean, that would be like $7,500. By the end of going to college at Weber State, I got my master's degree there. It was around $3,500, so it went up $1,000 a semester going there. Okay, so there's a lot to be said about that, and I think right now it's around $3,700. You have some online schools that are a little cheaper. Western Governors. You have Dixie State that we're doing the concurrent enrollment for. You'll have to look at it. So you'll want to, one thing you want to do is look at the cost of going to different places. If you're looking to go out of state college and you're not a resident of that state, you're going to be paying a higher price. So for example, like the University of Utah, if you're not a resident of Utah, you're probably going to be paying anywhere from $23,000 to $25,000 a semester. Okay, so that's a lot of money. Okay, sometimes you'll get scholarships and stuff like that. But let's go over the different types of financial aid you can have for college. So there's grants. So grants you can get through the federal government. You don't have to pay those grants back, which is really nice. And so it's given to those that sometimes like you're lower income or your parents never went to college or stuff like that. Okay, so you got that. You have scholarships, and there's scholarships through all kinds of different things. As I said, there's private scholarships you can apply for, scholarships for being different types of organizations, different ethnicities, different all kinds of things. Okay, and then there's also scholarships through the government. There's one in the state of Utah where if you get your associate's degree by the time you graduate, you actually get the rest of the 2 years paid for by the state of Utah. So to get your bachelor's degree. So that's a really good one. And there's other scholarships that you can get for good grades, that kind of stuff. Also, there's something called what's called student loans. Student loans are basically the federal government backs them. They give you the money, and you have to pay them back. There's some that are called subsidized and some that are unsubsidized. So unsubsidized means it keeps building interest even while you're going to school. Subsidized means that you do not have, it's not building interest on that loan until 6 months after you graduate from school. There's federal work study. So basically you're working for a place and they kind of pay for it. Internships is kind of the same thing. They pay for your school as you're working for them and getting that practical application in there. Institution tuition waivers. So some places like the tech colleges, some tuitions waived pending what your demographics are like, and we're going to talk about those demographics pretty soon. Employee benefits. So some employers will do what's called tuition reimbursement. So if you get like a bachelor's degree as you're working there, they'll pay off that that money. And then veterans benefits. That means if you served in the military, you get so much. There's something called the GI Bill that will pay for basically all your schooling up for a little bit. So there's a lot of different options out there that you can do. So what is FAFSA? FAFSA is Federal Student Aid, and there's an application you have to fill out that you can apply for this aid. when it's able to come to there. Okay, some things about FAFSA. One, you must fill it out every year you're in college. Okay, so since you got it 1 year, it doesn't mean you're going to get the same thing the other year. Okay, can file October 1st of your senior year. So for those that are seniors this year and are going to be graduating, after October 1st, you can start applying for college, or at least start getting the information in the system. Okay, you need to also have what's called a FSA ID, both parent and student. So if you're still a dependent of your parent, which means you still live in their house, even when you get older, after you're 18 and you're kind of living under your parent and you're single, you still have to go under what's your parent's income when you're filling out a FAFSA form. Okay, and I'll go over all this in just a little bit. The earlier you apply, the better. And then you got that. Okay, so somebody has a question. It says, does that include those who are planning to graduate a year early? So basically your senior year, so that doesn't, so you're probably credit-wise in your senior year, so you can apply for it early, yes. So you can start applying for it. So senior year would not be like age-wise, it would be credit-wise. So if you're graduating early, you're probably a senior already. Okay. Good question. Okay, so the application is free to apply, and it takes a while, I'm going to tell you. So when I filled it out, and this was years ago, it probably took me 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even more, sometimes an hour to fill out all this information, because I had to get stuff from your parents. One says, if your parents are divorced, do you have to go off both incomes or just the parent who you live with? And who has just the, I believe just the parent you live with. Don't quote me on that. That's something you're going to have to look at when you're going through the FAFSA form. Yep. So where you go to is www.fafsa.gov. Okay, and you'll go and you'll start to apply for it. Okay, so this is the website right here. So what I'm going to be going over right now is the steps you need to go through and some of the things. So you'll go to this website and you'll say start a new FAFSA, okay, and you'll just click on there. And then you need to start going right here. So if you've never done it before, you need to go enter new student information, and then next. So somebody said I taught at their junior high. Yeah, I've taught at your junior high. A bunch of junior highs, actually. Which one? We'll have to talk. Hey, private chat me and we'll talk about it. Oh, Rocky. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay? Awesome. So what you'll do is you'll start putting in, you'll create an ID, okay? And here's some of the stuff that you need to do. And so this might be a recording you might want to go back and watch eventually if you're filling out a FAFSA form. So you'll like enter student information. You got to put in first name, last name. Now this is putting in a lot of confidential information, okay? So please ask your parents and sit down with your parents as you're doing this, okay? So somebody asked real quick, is there going to be an exit ticket today? I don't really have an exit ticket. It's just it's an option for extra credit, and I'll be getting there in just a little bit. It's basically you can either start filling out a FAFSA form or just talk to your parents about it and show that you got to the screen, into a screenshot, and email me, and I'll give you some extra credit. Okay. So I know some people have to get to different places because this is a later at night class. Okay, so you just, as I said, you got this personal information that you need to kind of put in, which includes social security number, okay? So make sure that you're talking to your parents before you go in and do this, okay? So it'll come up right here and it'll pop up the new school year, which is 18-19. So for example, if you are a senior, you're probably going to start be going to college in 2019, okay, if you're going to go right away. So you could either go the summer of 2019 or the fall of 2019. So you'll go and you'll click on that school year that you're looking for financial aid. So you'll just have to go put in some information in here, username, password. Don't forget that because it's a pain in the butt to get. You might have to call the line. I remember sitting on there forever trying to get through to somebody. As I said, social security number, birth date, first and last name, all of that kind of stuff. Address, a couple things like that. And then they'll have you give what's called a PIN number. And this PIN number is how you electronically sign to submit your application, okay? So if you are brand new and you still have your, you're not 18 yet or you're barely 18, both parent and student need to fill out create a password, okay? So you'll both have to create this FAFSA Form account, okay? Say here, just same thing, student demographics, what you have got, what you're looking to apply for. So for example, like a person is going for a bachelor's degree, what exactly year you are in college as well. So probably most of you guys are going to go for an associate's degree first. And so you just put like this is your first year, what's your highest level of education, high school diploma, or if it's going to be high school diploma, right? And so just some information on there. Student eligibility is going to ask you what high school you went to, so you want to do there, and the state. It's going to look at all these things, different sections. Then it's going to ask you what schools you're looking to go to, okay? So some people said they're looking to go to Weber State, so you can put in Weber State, maybe Dixie State, maybe someplace there. It will ask like what your housing plans are, okay? Are you going to live with a parent? Are you going to live on campus? Are you going to live off campus? Okay. This depends. Once you put this in here, it will really depend on how much they give you to go to that school. So they look at the tuition, they look at all that kind of stuff, and then they'll break down how much they will give you. Okay, you have other things. When you were born, you know, what dependent status is, okay? So for example, if my kids are in trouble, I guess. So if you your parent has a higher degree, probably a bachelor's degree or higher, they don't give out all of that information. So they like people that are first-time college people in their family. They'll give you more money. Okay, so if you're the first one to go to college in your family, you're probably going to get quite a bit of money to be able to go to school. Okay, and grants, which is you don't have to pay back. So I don't want to say it's free money, but it's money that you can do. Okay, how many other children are in the house? How many dependents they have? So this is stuff you're going to have to talk about on there. Are you homeless? Okay, so it has a lot of stuff on there, so you'll want to sit down with your parents and do this when the time comes, and if they want you to. So parental information has to be given, and so what has to be given is their social security number, their FAFSA number, how many people are in the household. So there's a lot that goes into it. Okay. They're also going to need to give, I think it's right over here, what they filed for their taxes, okay? So how much money they made, much taxes they paid, how much, a lot of stuff, okay? So they go and they do verify this with the IRS, okay? So I've known, This is bad. So not me. This wasn't me. I know of people that have lied on these FAFSA things, and they had to go back and pay back all the money that was given to them, and they were charged a fine too. So please, 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 please do not put in false information, because they do verify with the IRS how much your parents make. So they'll want to pull out their last tax forms and fill out like how much it is here, okay? So they have to do, so this is where they're saying on about being like divorced or whatever, right? So you'll have to put in that kind of information, okay? So this is just an example. So their gross income, what's their adjusted income, income tax, so how much taxes they paid, all of this kind of stuff has to go into the things, the information. Okay. So this will all go in there, and then after that you do your electronic signing that you agree to the terms. And then if you do have any questions, this is where you can contact the Federal Student Aid Information Center. And if you do ever get a loan, this is where you'd go through to pay off that loan and stuff. Okay. All right, so this is where I'm going to provide extra credit to you. I don't do a lot of extra credit in this class, but if you want to, you can fill out a FAFSA form and take a picture of the last page, like just screenshot it or take a picture, and you can email the page. Make sure it doesn't have confidential information on there. I don't need to know how much your parents made or whatever, okay? Or you can just send me a screenshot that you went to the site and that you talked about it with your parents, okay? Remember, it's www.fafsa.gov, and I'm going to give you 25 points extra credit for doing that, okay? Pretty good for just kind of going there, talking with your parents. Email zhancock@utahvirtual.org with that, okay? So if you want that extra credit points, you can take advantage of that. All right, so any questions in regards to financial aids? Does this apply for CE as well? You're going to have another assignment where you fill out. It's more intense, so no, not for concurrent enrollment. Just you can sign up and get your PIN. That's what I mean. Jordan, good question though. So you can sign up and get your PIN. And you can have your parents sign up too. How far should we be in our assignments right now? Yeah, so we talked about that at the very beginning. I'll go back at the very end, okay, and show you where you're supposed to be. And I've emailed emailed that out, but I'll go back to the very end, okay? Okay. So it's pretty good, because what will happen, let me just kind of explain a little bit. So after you get it back, the FAFSA form, it will say, hey, you've been awarded this, right? And so I've got Pell Grants before. So when I was first married, we didn't have any money. So I was able to get some Pell Grants, which basically are grants where you didn't have to pay anything. Sometimes I got like $3,000. Sometimes I got like $1,500. And a lot of it paid for the schooling. I've had scholarships before. For good grades, doing things at the university and school, and then I've also taken out some student loans as well. I would say student loans is your last possible thing, but yeah, if you're the first one to go to college, if you're not the majority ethnicity or something like that, I mean, you're probably going to get quite a bit of money to help you through college and do that here. So I believe they award almost everybody at least something. Sometimes it's just a loan, but the loans are okay. As I said, I would look at that as your last thing. I'd try to do grants, scholarships, paying for it before you do loans. Now, I would only do loans if you really have to, because I said if you do loans and stuff like that, they're like at a 5% interest, which is pretty high, and they never go away. They do have some really good plans of loan forgiveness and stuff like that, but you'll want to look into that, okay? All right, okay, so the last thing we're going over real quick is financial institutions. Okay, so let's kind of be a little active real quick. I'm going to give you guys rights to write on the board, okay, here. And I want you to put on here the difference on this side over here. I want you to put the differences between a bank and a credit union. Okay, a bank and a credit union. May have to Google it real quick. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that. So I'm going to put a timer on. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Start writing, okay? Differences between a bank and a credit union. Good. I'm glad some people are writing on there. Thank you. Alright, so let's just finish up our thoughts real quick, and then we'll kind of go over what we have here. Sorry, it was a lot of going over FAFSA before. It's kind of boring, but you'll be happy you did it if you get some money, right, towards college or towards things. Alright, 5 seconds, then we'll kind of go over things. Alright, so you guys did a pretty good job there in regards to everything. So one said deals with your money and savings. Okay, that's true. Banks do that. Credit unions do that as well, but that's good. One said that it's owned by shareholders. That is correct. Okay, so basically they're like a public traded company. So think of some banks. Can you guys think of any banks? You can put in the chat right there. We're going to go over some in a little bit. But what are some banks? I remember Bank of Utah, right? U.S. Bank, good. Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo's with Zions Bank, good. Yep. So they're owned by people. USAA, yeah, that's a good one. So it's interesting, most insurance companies have their own banks as well, okay? Sunflower Bank. I haven't heard of that one, but I'm sure it's around. Mountain America. So Mountain America would be a credit union. So Mountain America Credit Union. Okay. Oh, good, Nicole. So it's in Colorado. Bank of Southern Utah. So that's another one too. Other things on here. Somebody put kind of a compare and contrast down there. It says banks are for-profit enterprise while credit unions are non-profits. So credit unions are not non-profit. We'll talk about that. But credit unions generally provide better customer service than banks do. Though the ratings for smaller banks are nearly as good, credit unions also offer a higher interest rate on deposits, lower rates on loans, and lower fees. Yeah, so I've noticed that credit unions sometimes do have lower interest rates and stuff. So the thing is, credit unions are not non-for-profit, but credit unions are owned by the members. Okay, so if I go into a credit union, I become a member of that credit union. So the whole thing about owning stock so you can't own stock like in America First Credit Union or Mountain America because it's owned by the members. So the members own it. So it's kind of nice in that regards because, I think you do have that customer service. When I've kind of met with banks and stuff like that, they do have higher fees. So somebody said credit unions have higher interest rates. Really, it kind of depends on where you're at and which credit union you're dealing with. They praise on better customer service, higher savings rates, and lower loan rates. It can have that, yes. So there is a little bit of difference. Just know that somebody said, don't credit unions give you money? After a certain amount of time. Yeah, so you basically, you should be able to get money in all your bank accounts. So they give you interest after that so much. So keeping your money in a bank account, whether it's a bank or credit union, you get what's called dividends, and they give you so much money for the amount of money you have in there. Because what banks and credit unions do is they actually take your money that you have there and they invest it into the stock market and make more money, right? They just need that collateral underneath there, okay? Now, what happened like in the Great Depression is everybody went and tried to pull their money out of the banks at the same time, and they didn't have the money there. So if you only have so much money in there, they're like, okay, yeah, here's your money, But if you had large amounts of money in there, they'd probably be like, wait, just a second, where are you going with it, right? So that's kind of a little bit of difference there. So somebody said they got 2 cents in dividends. Yep. If you don't have a lot of money in there, you're not going to get a high interest rate on there. But there is a little bit of difference. One, you just got to know that credit unions are owned by members. Banks are shareholders on there. So banks are looking to make more of a profit than credit unions, but both of them make profits. So here's some ones that you might be familiar with. Far West Bank, First Security, SunFirst Bank, U.S. Bank, Zions Bank, Heritage Bank, State Bank of Southern Utah. I think I already said Zions Bank, AM Bank, Central Bank. I already said Far West Bank too. I don't know why they had that on there a couple of times. It looks cool. Okay, last thing we're going to go over before we end today. The next couple lessons are going to be dealing with different types of, not savings accounts, but investing, putting things in the stock market, all kinds of stuff. I have a really cool stock market game that I'll let you guys play, and if you play it and send me a screenshot, I'll give you some extra credit for it too. But it just kind of deals with stocks without spending money. Okay. So checking account versus savings account. Usually a checking account has a monthly fee, and that's a good thing about a credit union and a bank. Banks require fees. A lot of credit unions do not require monthly fees to open up a checking account. Okay. Minimum daily balances. So some places, especially when you have businesses, they require, banks require anyways, that you have a minimum amount of balance in there. You also get interest. So even though they may require these, some banks, you'll get interest, a higher interest rate for having those balances in there. Sorry about my phone going off. Overdraft protection. So if you go over, so some people, they use their debit card and they go over, they'll give you protection for that. And so you'll still pay for the thing, but they charge fees for that. A lot of them have ATM fees. So if you go and get an ATM from not a place, you're going to have to charge more money. Internet banking, online bill pay, which is really nice. So that's one thing I like. I like to go on my app and just be able to transfer money from people that are maybe the same credit union, or online bill pay. So if I have a bill that I have to pay, they'll send it out for me. So there's a lot of benefits to having a checking account. Savings account, you have to have a minimum balance in there. You do get some interest. You can also write checks from there. ATM bank fee, other bank fees depending on the bank, and you also get other kind of things that work in there. So I would suggest, if you don't have a checking account or a savings account right now, I would go and just start to create one, start to get a little bit of savings. So as I said, we're going to start talking about other things that you can invest your money in, and how to be smart about that as we're moving forward. So let me run back here to the very beginning to show where we're at, because that was a question. Wow, we went through a lot of stuff today. So right here, this is what you should have done week 1, 2, 3. Right now we're in week 4. You should have all of these quizzes done up through 5.14. And this week you should be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 quizzes. Okay. All right, any other questions? If you don't have any other questions, you can take off. Remember the extra credit that you can receive. Okay. By doing the FAFSA thing. So I'm going to stop recording real quick, but I'll stick around for a while for no exit ticket. So for questions. Okay. Have a great day.